I've thrown myself in there because when you talk to them realistically about Israel from a biblical standpoint, from a spiritual standpoint, they're very tender. They're very tender, and they come around to being true lovers of Israel. The media, the mass media of the Hispanic world is unfortunately ill-disposed towards Israel, more out of ignorance than any other reason. And they get swayed by the mass media of the United States or even some of the Middle Eastern outlets which are so anti-Israel. So the population, the vast population of the Latin or Spanish-speaking world, Latin America that is at best apathetic towards Israel. And yet when you talk to them realistically, because they're all at least tacitly Catholic, probably not practitioners. 95% of Latin America are non-practitioners. But once you talk to them about their scriptures and what God in their scriptures says about Israel, they become tenderized. They become lovers of Israel. I take trips with Hispanics to the Promised Land, to the Holy Land, to Israel. And they rise to the occasion and they embrace Israel readily, but they have to be informed. They have to be educated. They have to be shown the legitimacy of something that's contrary to the mass media outlets that is spoon-feeding the whole population a bunch of half-truths or non-truths.
Who do you think can persuade the Spanish media, the Spanish press, to viewing Israel in a more realistic rather than a pro-Palestinian light?
I would like to quote the Deputy Prime Minister of Israel on that. Who would be most likely to persuade, to impact, to sway the media? I believe it will come from the grassroots up, from the ground up. I believe that there's a lot of leaders in Latin America and in Spain. The former Prime Minister of Spain is very, very pro-Israel. But there's lots of heads of state who are pro-Israel. The former president of El Salvador, Tony Sacas, a friend of mine, is a man who is extremely pro-Israel. When the issue with the flotilla happened, he was one of the only presidents in the world to throw in his immediate support and that of his country on behalf of Israel. We have leaders, Calderon and Uribe, the most recent former president of Colombia, very pro-Israel. But having the heads of state is not enough. It must be a groundswell of the general population. And for that, I believe two things can happen. Help needs to come from synagogues in those countries that reach out to the general population, and the evangelical church telling its parishioners, the Protestant churches telling its parishioners to spread the good news, the word that Israel is an ally, that grassroots help will begin to impact the mass media outlets. Yo soy el pastor Jaime Toll de la Iglesia en el Camino en Los Ángeles, California, y es mi gran placer poder extender una bendición a cada uno de ustedes. Aquí en Los Ángeles nosotros hemos escuchado decir por medio de los medios masivos de comunicación que Israel necesariamente no es un país que ama al mundo árabe. Mis estimados hermanos, es lo contrario. La verdad es que Israel es la única democracia en el Medio Oriente. La verdad es que el mundo musulmán y el mundo árabe quiere que haya un Israel que ejercita su poder, porque ellos, los árabes y los musulmanes, también andan atemorizados de los extremistas que andan surgiendo dentro de los países del Medio Oriente. Entonces, les animo a ustedes a entender el cuadrito que es mucho más amplio, que Israel es una bendición para todos nosotros. La base de la democracia surge de Israel. Israel es un país que ama a los árabes y hasta que tiene dentro de su parlamento árabes representando los sectores musulmanes de su propio país. En ningún país musulmán existe semejante cosa. Tenemos que entender que un Israel sano, un Israel protegido va a bendecir a todos nosotros. Que Dios me lo bendiga ricamente.